that.
Hi everyone, Jenny here from the Proven Group, and I am here with the wonderful Trudy Chaffer from JAX Tyres and Auto. Uh, Trudy is the Performance and Development Manager, very impressive title. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you said, my name's Trudy. I work for JAX, and really the way I pitch it in an elevator is I help people do better at their jobs and at life, wherever they choose to be better or wherever they push their energy. So that's something that really floats my boat, and that's no matter what kind of organization I'm in, whether I'm doing some consulting, whether I'm with JAX, whether I've been with one of my previous workplaces. That's really how I like to picture it. How am I helping someone to improve what they want to do in their life?
I
And that's
love it.
what gets me excited.
I
Yeah.
really, really love it. I think it leads beautifully to our interview today, because it's all about people and culture and people being their best. Can you share with us what are your thoughts about the types of skills that you see as really important in franchising moving into the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in terms of franchising itself, we have to remember that there's a few kind of lenses you can look at it. You can look at the people and how you're helping them and empowering them to run their business. And then you can look at the franchisors and the systems and practice and processes in place that are required to be scalable. So from a franchisee perspective, there's people that come from many, many different walks of life that have very different experiences when it comes to managing people and engaging teams. And I find that that's one of the pieces that needs a lot of enhancement is that leadership piece, and how do you engage your team on the journey that you're trying to take within your business. From a franchisor perspective, that scalability piece is around consistent processes and a way to be able to provide consistent tools and consistent service. But we are people, we're individuals. So how do you get that consistency from an individual? It's around understanding where their strengths lie, and really tapping into those strengths and creating processes that are easy to follow for everyone. And monitoring and measuring those processes as well, because without that, we're not going to be able to ensure that that scalable practice will be present in the future.
So true. And I mean, ultimately, that's what a franchise is, isn't it? That's the
Yeah,
difference between a franchise and someone setting up their own business. It's all about that really simple and easy to follow process. And I think in such a busy world where we've got so many demands, the more simple it is right now, the better it is for everyone, and especially for the franchisees who have got so many demands on them all the time. I really,
absolutely.
really love that. Can I ask you, who's inspired you in your franchising career and your general career to be who you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been really fortunate to have a lot of people that I've come across in my career that I can really engage with and challenge me to challenge my perspective, and create a different thought processes that might not have been there before, and empowered me in very specific ways. So I'm very fortunate. My manager at the moment is one such person, Charlene. She'll quite often hold me up in that space, allow me the platform to drive my ideas and ensure that I have a holistic approach to what I'm doing. It's not just one rung on the ladder. It's very well rounded in terms of I can have any kind of inspirational thought I want. I can have any kind of strategy I want, as long as it links to business, the way we do things, and ensuring the success of JAX. I can run in that direction as long as I take ownership over that. So it's allowed me to really stretch my legs, I guess, more recently. And there's similar veins of that from previous managers. So a previous manager I had, Melissa Spindler, she was fantastic in a very similar way. She loved my ideas and encouraged me to be able to develop those ideas, and build them out in a wider space than was just my portfolio. And that got me really excited about working in that business and working in that way. And I guess that goes back to my very, very early kind of job roles and responsibilities. I was very fortunate to work for a not-for-profit as one of my first first experiences as a manager, and I was very young when I was put in charge of this really, really big business, one where I was solely responsible for running almost the entire element of that business, and just cutting my teeth very early in that world, and taking ownership with lots of different hats, whether it be marketing, whether it be risk and WHS, whether it be program management and sales and customer experience. That was all on me. So that development piece, and those people that really put faith in me at that stage to run a business, allowed me to really grow at a rapid rate in knowledge and learning, I guess.
I love that. It's all about people believing in you, isn't it? Sometimes they believe in you before you believe in yourself.
Yes, quite often, quite often.
I love that. I love that you've got people inspirational to you around you at the moment, because it's so important. No, it doesn't matter what level of your career you're at. It's always important to have people who inspire you and believe in you.
Yeah, I agree.
Trudy, can I ask you, obviously we're working in the franchise industry, franchisees come from different walks of life. What do you see as the most important skills that franchisees need to actually be successful in their franchise?
Yeah, I think it's funny. If you asked me this question 10 years ago, I probably would have given you a quite different answer. But I think with the rapid rate of change that we have within a franchise system, which is it's a funny thing to say, because again, going back to that scalable approach, we want consistency, we want to be able to follow that process. But again, it's really important that we are able to embed change rapidly, and they're able to, as I said before, leadership is really important, but that change management piece that comes with leadership, in order to understand the change, message the change, story tell the change, and hold people accountable to the change. Anyone that can do that very well moving into the future, I think will have that agility within their business to change within set parameters, but change nonetheless, because we need to be able to focus on that anything that comes along really in that space.
Yeah, I love it. And it's really interesting that you say that if someone asked you 10 years ago, you would have had a very different answer. What would your answer have been?
I think it would have been more stakeholder side. So how do you ensure that you message what you need and work in partnership for a win-win outcome between franchisor and franchisee? And I think that's still very, very important within a franchisor-franchisee relationships. They need to be well balanced. There needs to be an understanding of a symbiotic relationship in that space. But is it more important than change management at this point in time? For me, in my opinion, probably just has taken a backseat a little bit.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. So, the other word people would use to describe that would be adaptability. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's really interesting because, franchisees who purchased into lots of franchise groups, say, let's call it 20 years ago,
Mm.
uh, adaptability and their ability to deal with change really was a function that was important then, whereas now it's just so critical, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And agility for agility's sake is not is it's that's an interesting one as well. We're on this train at the moment where, and even a couple of years ago, it was all about agile. How do we be agile? Even going into obviously into COVID and the changes that we've had. And I think it's a really it's a really interesting piece. If you look at businesses and who actually does that well, even after this period of time, there's a limited amount of business that actually does that well. And it's around that line of sight and that purpose and empowerment and providing scope that allows people to do agility well. But if you're lacking that people engagement and lacking the ability to provide purpose, empowerment, and scope, agility just ends up looking like an under sixes soccer team where everyone's running after in a different direction and no one's scoring a goal. So in that case, it's the skills that come with that change management, and then understanding as a business, how do we build the framework to allow agility within a scope.
I love it. I feel like, Trudy, you and I could talk about this topic for hours.
We could.
Absolutely loved having you today. Thank you for sharing your ideas. And I'll have to bring you back for a bit more discussion about skills and agility.
Yes, please do. Anytime, anytime.
Thanks.